Welcome back, everyone. Reghan Winkler is with us today, the Executive Director of the Better Business Bureau, talking a little bit more about scams. This has a familiar ring to it, but it also has that the one ingredient that a lot of scammers use, and that's a threat. Tell us about this utility scam where folks call you or email you.
Yeah, so we get calls often here at the office, and most recently we've been getting calls about the utility scam that's going on. Consumers are getting calls from their electric companies or utility companies about gas and water, saying that they need to immediately pay with gift cards, prepaid cards to get this taken care of, or else their water, electric is going to be shut off immediately. And the companies are claiming that they need to get that taken care of right away using that sense of urgency that we see often in scams.
Yeah, it's funny. You talked about this before. We hear that, and from a distance, sitting back, I think, well, it's just common sense that if somebody calls you and says, hey, send us a gift card or one of these kind of cards to pay for this, that people would catch on to that or see that as a red flag. But you mentioned it. I think sometimes you get scared, and they're kind of hoping that's the case, right?
Right. They use that sense of urgency to catch you off guard and maybe hopefully think that you have to pay that way because your card's not working or your form of payment isn't working. So they're trying to give you suggestions. But you just have to really take a step back. You can call your company directly on previous bills, is what we suggest, and contacting them that way instead of taking their word that they're really them calling you. Look back at your previous bills. If you think you paid it or you've paid it, just contact them and you can look into it deeper and don't use that sense of urgency to scare you and do it immediately.
Yeah, that's great advice. Are there any other red flags other than the method of payment? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've ever gotten a call from a utility. I suppose they could call you. Are there other things to look for that might be red flags that say, hey, this might not be legit?
Yeah, look for the name of the company that's calling you. Most companies do have caller ID, but scammers are good at spoofing numbers and making it look like they're really calling you. So take a look at your bill, ask them for information. If they're calling you, they should have all of your information already. They shouldn't be asking you for your account number or any personal information like Social Security or anything like that that may be hooked to that account. So really just knowing what you have and being able to go back and research yourself is the best way to do it.
Yeah, it's funny because they will ask for money, and all they're counting on, you've talked about this before, is one, I guess, out of 100 who will fall for it. So we often wonder, like, why do they do this? Because most people probably catch this, but they're just trying to get that one stray person that'll fall for it, right?
Yeah, and once they have that you hooked on that line and saying, oh, well, it didn't go through, or oh, we need more, it's really easy to keep giving them more, and it can happen to anybody, anybody that's paying a bill or anybody that's in an office that might think that they need to pay a bill. Always just be careful and watch out.
Yeah, you've talked about that. I've had people call from supposed utilities, and it seems like the two things they want first are your Social Security number, and as you mentioned, they tell you that your payment's not going through. What's your card number? Let me check it again. And then all of a sudden, you're really out of luck then, aren't you?
Right. They're very swift and they're very good at trying to hook you on and get you into this story that they've created. And if you listen long enough, you'll see that there's faults in their story. It's just paying attention and being really up to date on what you have going on.
If with spring coming, is there a bigger chance that we might see those folks that come out acting as if they're from your utility or ask to see your electric bill?
Yeah, with warm weather, there's always the expectations of having people start the door-to-door jobs. So never give out your account or your bill. If anybody gets that information, they can switch it automatically, even if you don't say yes or no. Once they have access to that account number, they can switch it to their own company. So always be cautious of doing that. And if you do that, you can just call the number on your bill and tell them what had happened, and they will switch it right back for you. But without having to go through those extra steps, just always remember to keep your bills personal.
Yeah, great advice as always. Reghan, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You bet. Nice chatting with you. We'll be back right after this.